Yeah, Sean is way off. That is odd. Maybe somebody did bump it.
Fuck.
Anyways,
Good over, Sean.
like that's so far off the camera must have been bumped. It can't
That's
be
what
an
I'm
overlay
thinking.
problem.
I'm looking at it, and it's like that.
Yeah.
I unintentionally might have done that. I didn't think I bumped it, but I might have.
Yeah,
Right.
like there's no way. If it's not even in frame, that can't be an OBS problem.
No.
Dave,
I
talk
like that.
again real
I'm
quick.
protecting my identity.
Dave, talk.
Did we change his voice modulation on this too? Like, did we modulate him?
Hello, my name is Ron Alters, and I am here to read about the
I like that. We're using a voice modulation to introduce my name.
Dave is still echoing. And I honestly have no idea why. I don't know why anymore. I don't fucking know why.
Oh, no.
The monitoring's off on that source. There's no monitoring, so it shouldn't be creating a loop.
Well, Sean, guess what? You're talking anyway, so I'll just stop talking.
Yeah, I can get started. So, while we try to fix this, this is actually, so this is the best two-parter of the year, but this specifically is the best episode of the year. I'm going to come over here. So, annual look, best video games, the tradition we've done for a while now. I have a list. Chris has a list. We're going to go over some of the best games. Surprisingly strong year for games. I think we were expecting it to kind of be soft, and that was not the case at all. I think we have some real gems, obviously, but even just across the board, we had a lot of strong entries. And then I'm also, Dave, I have my year in review, which I know is your most anticipated part.
You know, the best part of your year in review is when I don't know 75% of them. Like, never even heard of them. Great.
Yeah, right. But I'm talking about my year specifically. So
I know. Yeah, I know.
I can jump in on that since I think we're trying to figure out Dave. And then Chris, just interrupt me when we need Dave to test or talk.
Do it right now.
I'm talking. I just talked right now about Sean. Is so esoteric about his games that I don't know any of them.
Nope.
Well, okay, so I'm going to keep going and interrupt me when I'm not talking about you're misunderstanding what I'm about to do, Dave. 2025 by the numbers. This is my thing. So you're not going to hear any esoteric games yet. This is me.
Well, no. Any of them in there, it has to be esoteric.
So 40 games played this year. Okay, we're going to start with games. So this year we saw 40 games played. Not just from this year. That would be crazy. There's not 40, I think, good enough games that would be worthy of my time. 40 games ranging from 4 hours to like 70. So this is a strong year, Dave. This is a strong year. Market is a little down because last year I hit 50 games. I don't know if you remember. Dave, do you remember that?
I don't keep track. No.
Okay.
I don't care either.
Well, you say you don't, but I know you do. So that is a decline, obviously. But there's hope I'm not completely over the hill because it's still up 5 games from 2023.
So when you say 4 hours, what is a 4-hour game?
There's just like short games, like a puzzle game or whatever. I don't have very many of those. But it still counts because I'm going to count a 100-hour game.
Does it count that I restarted Majora's Mask because I got the Nintendo Switch emulator?
It does count
game for me,
but you didn't beat it, so it doesn't. It only counts if you beat it.
Okay, what about
or
games
in
like Mario
some
Kart?
specific live service arrangements? Like I'll forgive it. But
I think everything is fixed, by the way.
Great.
Well,
what if I keep going? But
like a game like Mario Kart or Mario Party, you can't beat.
Mario Kart is you do all the tracks, for example.
Okay. What about if I just destroy my kids in it repeatedly?
That counts in a way. Honestly, that's what you would say is like I did the multiplayer of Mario Kart, not the circuits, the cups.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So movies, the same trend, down from last year's 32. This is more concerning because it's even more down from the previous year's 40. So, Dave, this will be one to watch heading into 2026. So I feel like I'm off to a pretty good start, but
32 movies. Like, and these are movies that came out this year, or just 32 movies?
No, not necessarily. Although many of them are because I don't like rewatch movies or watch old movies a lot because I've seen a lot of the old ones. But there are some. I caught up on like some of the old Hunger Games movies I hadn't seen, for example. So they're a little bit, but yeah. TV, Dave. I felt like I was going to be fucking unstoppable in TV, but it's down again. I did 31 seasons of TV, down 5 seasons from last year, but still up from 2023. So seasons are hard, man. There's a lot of TV.
Yeah.
I need someone to throw a baby at him. Just give him some responsibilities.
Yeah. So, well, I would, here's what I do, Dave. I would rock the baby and I would watch my TV.
This is a man who
that
exercise.
works for the first. That works for
an exercise bike while he played Rock Band. So I don't. He's gonna have to give him more credit for multitasking.
Exactly. And then last of all, books. No one cares about books. Yeah. I know, but same thing. I hit 9, which is down from last year, 10, but it's the same as the year before. So I'd love to get 11. I would love to hit that this year. I am determined to make 2025 cannot be the best year ever. I will not let that happen, Dave.
So I realized I used the wrong word earlier. It wasn't esoteric. It was narcissistic. There we go.
No. It's not narcissistic. It is giving people what they want as long as what they want is just revolving around me. So I'm pretty sure that's not narcissistic.
So you're right. It is. Well, it's a little bit. It's also egotistic. So maybe
no.
Maybe another tistic somewhere.
Anyways, I like to do that. I keep track of it. You know what I do? You know what it is, Dave? I'm just doing Letterbox manually. That's literally all this fucking is that I do. And now Letterbox catching on to everybody. I was ahead of the curve. But I'm just doing it like in Gmail, so like really inefficiently and not sharing it with other people. So
what the hell is Letterbox?
Oh, okay.
Well,
I've never even heard of that.
We know.
That'll be for another time.
Social platform for sharing your taste in film. Why would I care?
Well, I guess that is its own question, but
that's true.
Anyways.
Video games. Quite a year.
Hey, man.
I have 5 dishonorable mention, 10 honorable mention, and 10 on my list. I will fly through the first 15 of those to get them out of the way quickly, and then we'll see how much overlap Sean and I have. I think we're going to have 4.
Okay.
We'll see. I know we're not going to have more than 6.
I will probably derail you a couple times on trying to get through these quickly. No, one stands out to me specifically.
Yeah,
but
no, I think there's stuff to go into. That's fine. I'm just going to go through as quick as I can so we don't spend a ton of time because we also have yours to get to.
Okay.
The dishonorable and honorable mentions are just in alphabetical order. I didn't sit there and rank them. Who cares what number 17 is?
Right.
We'll start with dishonorable. Look, I mean, as good of a year as this was for games overall, the industry is still not in phenomenal shape. It's actually kind of weird because while there are a lot of success stories out there and there were some major really good games this year, you also have like massive quadruple A failures. You have studios going under. You have unions being struck down by Rockstar. You have all sorts of problems that are happening too. We just thought that was going to have more of an impact on the end result, and it didn't. So it was quite a good year, and we're going to see why when we get to the lists. But there are still some failures, and here are some of them. Final Fantasy XIV.
Oh.
Now, you're like,
home.
Because Dawn Trail is still struggling, like the expansion that went out last year and kind of got panned quite a bit for not living up to expectations. Not really. They've kind of recovered from some of the early issues with that, story-wise and like gameplay content-wise. They just spent the last 3 months being under constant DDoS attack. Like, specifically in North America, the servers consistently are being brought down multiple times per day, which cannot happen with a company of Square Enix's size or a game of this game's size. Like, the whole thing is live service. You cannot have periods where it's like, oh, we're going to have our most dedicated players, like the Savage Raiders, get interrupted in the middle of their potential first winning run because the attack sent the whole game under, like, maintenance for 3 hours. And it's been months. It's not like it's an isolated thing. So the fact that it keeps happening and they have not had a solution for all the millions of dollars that go into this game, pretty pathetic. Got to be honest.
And the millions of dollars is bringing in, like, both. Like, it's, you would think it has the priority, and it's like, what are you guys doing?
And there's been no compensation. It's not like, oh, well, for players that just keep running into this, like, if you've had an active subscription this whole time, here's 2 weeks of free play added to your account or something. It's been nothing. So
that thing too, when you're paying a monthly fee to play a game, you expect that thing to work when you play it. It's not like if I had to pay a monthly fee to pay a game on a disc and it just stopped working, I'd be like, well, I'm going to turn off this monthly fee. And I imagine a lot of players are moving in that direction. And the fact that they aren't trying to compensate anybody is rough.
Right.
They sort of rested on their laurels. Dishonorable mention number 2. Get us alphabetical order. Metroid Prime 4.
Oof. We spent a whole episode on Metroid Prime 4.
We could. There's a lot to talk about. Not because it's a horrible game. No.
No.
It's perfectly fine. But more so because it turns out if you get stuck in development hell for the better part of a decade, you almost always end up with a game that feels antiquated and out of touch in a lot of ways. Like, say, trying to take a game that is in a genre that has half of its name in it about being, like, able to explore more as time goes on.
Yep.
And instead being like, you know what's really hot right now in 2015? Open world games.
And I mean, God, but to do an open world game would have been one thing. And could they have pulled it off? I don't know. It kind of clashes with the style of Metroid. To do such a half-assed shitty job of it with that desert overworld where there is nothing to do. And yet, Chris, I don't know if you finished the game.
Nope.
You know those green crystals that you, like the only thing in the desert?
Mm.
You have to collect there's a requisite amount to finish the game. So I don't want to spend time in the desert, right? So by the end of the game, I am now spending hours driving around in circles in the desert to get enough fucking green crystals to just finish the game. And that was the point where I was like, wow, first 5 hours, not bad. Actually, like pretty good. And it just, as time went on, it got worse and worse and worse.
Isn't that a sign of the times there, Chris, that you didn't finish it? I feel like in the past, all three of us would have been like, no, I started it. I got to finish it. That's not happening anymore. And I don't know if that's age, the amount of games that are available nowadays. I don't know which one it is, but
it's a little bit of everything. I have a little less time. I also have less tolerance when there's so many good options out there. I poured hours into the Dot Hack series. I've talked about it before in the show. Those games fucking suck. I should have stopped after halfway through the first game, not almost halfway through the fourth before I finally gave up, even back then. So, yeah, there's a bigger problem. I didn't even get to play some of the really good Game of the Year candidates, which will be in my honorable mention. Like, there's just no time for mediocrity.
What else did you hate about Metroid?
Well, I mean, Maisie pointed out some of the music. Like, there are shades of what made Metroid Prime really good in this. So, in some ways, it's almost more frustrating because you're like, look, there's the Metroid Prime. That's right there. I see it. And yet it feels out of reach sometimes. And again, I just think it's because too many people had too much time. Like, we thought it was a bad sign when it was like, oh, there's a whole different team being shifted to this 2.5 years after it was first announced. Like, that's probably not a good sign, and it probably wasn't. Somewhere along the line of development, some ideas clashed, and someone didn't get their way.
Look, and the director of the game was like, we couldn't bear to restart it again. And you're like, I get it. Maybe you should have, because what you released, it didn't sell great for Metroid. And if you look back and if this is what kills the Metroid series, which I don't think it will, for the record, I think they're already pretty far into 5.
Because Dread was fine. I mean, Dread was good.
Too. Yep.
But still, the Miyamoto thing always comes to mind, where it's like, you put out a rushed game, and you've put out a rushed game, or if you wait a little longer, this wasn't rushed, and yet if 10 years wasn't bad enough, what if it was 11 or 12? I don't know.
Yep.
I just pulled up GameSpot looking at games of the year, and Metroid Prime 4, they rated it an 8, which I think is very high. And one sentence of their review says, there's no denying that some elements of the game feel dated thanks to its protracted development. So it's that
there
point.
You go.
And, I just really quick, we need to move on, but this is just an example for the broader games industry that I wanted to touch on. Multiple reviews said, the game gets better because eventually you get to choose anywhere you want to go. And I feel like reviewers are not playing the games, and that's a concern to me. Mm-hmm. Because Metroid Prime 4, you can't choose where you want to go. You're pretty railroaded in the entire game. It's one of the most linear Metroids like ever made. Super Metroid has more choice and freedom than Metroid Prime 4. So, like, if these reviewers aren't playing the games, but they're ascribing scores to them, I just think, like, that's kind of a problem.
Yep.
Anyways.
Dishonorable mention number 3, Mind's Eye. Now, you would think with the pedigree of some of the former folks from GTA that were working on this, that we were going to be set up for a nice new take on an open world shooter. Uh-huh. Instead, what we got was Cyberpunk 2077 2.0. Which is to say something that completely underdelivered on expectations, disappointed just about everybody who was looking forward to it, and was so bad that I think almost 100 of its own employees wrote an open letter to leadership about all the concerns they had that had been ignored during the development process. Not a great sign.
14% of Google users liked this game.
Yeah, it was absolutely dead on arrival.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes.
Dishonorable mention number 4, kind of a similar vein, where it was like past pedigree and concept should have been better than it actually was. Splitgate 2. Because you would think to yourself, well, Halo hasn't exactly been great for the past decade, and this was like a Halo Portal crossover. That sounds like it's got a lot of potential, like a fun shooter with like playing around with portals and jumping around and killing people and stuff. Well, Splitgate 1 was fine, but they had an Overwatch 2 problem here where it was like, well, that game was good. Rush out a sequel.
Yep.
And in doing so, now you've bloated it with some of the usual AAA nonsense and microtransaction shit, and you've lost the core of what made the first game great. And all of a sudden, even when they basically revamped it already twice since launch in 6 months, and I think some of the changes have been well received, but the problem is you have one chance to make a first impression, and they butchered it tremendously.
Dave, I know this. You hate to hear this, but capitalism is just fucking destroying the game industry, man. It's crazy.
I mean, capitalism is the reason the gaming industry exists in the first place, so natural cycle and
big brain.
Anyway, yeah. No, that's a whole other conversation because they just need to raise the price of games and stop with the microtransaction bullshit. Actually, people need to stop buying into the microtransaction bullshit, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah, because if they did, they would stop. But unfortunately,
that's why
does
GTA
work.
6 doesn't exist. That's why GTA 6 doesn't exist yet. Thank you, GTA Online, and fuck all of you who keep playing it.
It'll be out in November, I'm sure. It's 10 months from now. What could possibly happen between now and then? I did think about putting GTA 6 in my dishonorable mention, but it isn't a game that exists, so that's not how this works.
What? I've never even heard of this game.
Right. And last but not least, Skate 4, or just Skate, as it was called, because, when you reboot a series, sometimes you just say fuck it and name it after the first game in the series. If you like the Skate series, you found nothing here that was enjoyable. Has no soul, has no content. There are aspects of it that feel like Skate. There's huge jumps, and there's a lot of buildings to traverse in the open world. It seems like it's going to be fun at first. There's just nothing to do.
Yeah.
And again, as we would expect from EA in particular, microtransactions all over the goddamn place. And the fact that it's basically online play only in a Skate game seems fucking counterintuitive to me. I messed with it in early access. I was not enthused in the slightest. I spent about 3 or 4 hours on it and uninstalled it.
Damn.
And I loved Skate 3.
Another sign of the gaming industry, when this game is a free game coming out, it's like, hey, we're going to make it free for you, and then we're going to load up with microtransactions and take forever to come out. It's just, I don't trust EA almost ever.
Uh-huh.
I actually have less to say about honorable mention than the dishonorable, so we'll go pretty quick. In my honorable mention, things that did not make the top 10 but were really good, or I want to mention but didn't get to. Donkey Kong Bonanza. Didn't play it. I think it's going to be fun when I do. Do I think it's going to be Game of the Year contender worthy? No.
It's not.
I'll get it eventually.
Yeah, I think the destruction stuff, while it may be the only thing that you end up doing in many situations, is kind of a cool idea. How much that's going to stay before it outstays its welcome, I don't know. But Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles is in my honorable mention because it's an example of a remake done right.
Yep.
And I might as well skip my alphabetical order to also say Oblivion Remastered. It was also honorable mention this year. Another example of a remaster or a remake done right.
Having a great time with Ivalice Chronicles.
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a game that seems up my alley, and I would like to play at some point, but haven't gotten to. It's generally been well regarded. It was another Game of the Year candidate. Didn't have a chance this year. It didn't happen. Mario Kart World is an honorable mention, even though they made some questionable decisions about online play after launch that did alienate a decent amount of its player base. The core game itself is pretty fun, and I'd honestly put it on here just for the soundtrack, which is one of the best OSTs Nintendo has ever done.
Dave will have more to say about that eventually.
More to say. I mean, it's. I've played it. Obviously, it's. I need to. It's an honorable mention for me as well because I definitely need to explore more of the world part. Like going off the track is something that's like, ooh, man, there could be a lot to this.
And they've done a little bit better with that in a more recent patch to help expand some of the usefulness of that, the playability of that. So that helps because there was a time right at launch where it was like, there's not a ton to do out in the world when you're not doing the track stuff, the Grand Prix stuff. It's better now. Time trials and fun challenges and stuff like that I think have made it a more complete game. It had a lot of buzz when it first came out, and then it feels like it got kind of forgotten. And I don't think that's a great sign because people were still talking about, I don't know, the game before it.
Yep.
years after it had been released. Peak is on my honorable mention because to me, while a $8 game doesn't seem like it would be that phenomenal, it was one of the best success stories of the year because it's basically just you and up to 4 people or more if you mod it, which can be even more chaotic, just trying to climb up this thing and survive. Sounds basic, but I recommend people who have not heard of it go check it out because it is surprisingly fun gameplay, and at that price point, fun gameplay is appreciated at $8 when you're looking at $70 for disappointment.
Yep.
Or 80.
Along those lines, Peglin, which had been in earlier access most of last year but was officially released this year. I like roguelike games quite a bit. That's becoming like my favorite genre as time goes on, beating out sports games, beating out RPGs. And this was one where it was kind of like, you know how Breakout, you hit the ball up and it goes around and hits blocks and it comes back down. This is like a pachinko machine instead. So you start at the top and things trickle down. They bounce around, they hit stuff. You get power-ups, the balls split, the balls catch on fire. They do all sorts of funny things. You fight bosses. There is almost an RPG element to the fighting where you do it in. Like it ticks a lot of boxes that I like quite a bit. Was it good enough to make the top 10? No. Raven's Watch is another one along the same lines. I won't spend a lot of time on it, but it's another one. If you haven't been on Steam, you probably haven't heard of this. If you're a console gamer, you've missed out mostly to this point, but go check it out. Split Fiction is one I intend to get to, especially because I can probably play it with Callie, but at this moment I have not. And then finally, just because it was funny to see it come up at the Game Awards, and I have dabbled with it, and I think it's kind of fun, Uma Musume, which is a gacha game featuring anime girls who are based on real-life horses, and they run races. Surprisingly well-received and not as exploitative as most gacha games. I can't say it's not at all because it is a gacha game, but there's some dumb fun to be had with it, and a lot of like YouTubers and streamers have been having fun like in a very lighthearted way with it. So I think it deserves honorable mention. Into the top 10 we go. From 10 to 1, I would say there's a pretty big gap in the top 5 to number 6 for me. So we'll go through the first 5 pretty quick.
Same, actually.
Sworn is my number 10. This is another one that came off of early access to a full release this year, and I don't need to describe it in many words other than it is co-op Hades in Arthurian legend. So instead of having like the Greek pantheon of the gods, we now have King Arthur, who has turned evil because the Grail got corrupted, and you have to enlist the help of some other folks to help take him down, although some of the other knights of the round are also evil. But ultimately, it's just co-op Hades. Like, it's very, very much almost to like a rip-off point. Like, okay, you're going to have different powers as you level up. It's a roguelike. You get stuff run over run, but also in each run, and here's new ways to attack, and here's new weapons, but it's co-op.
Are there relationships?
No.
Okay.
At least not yet. If that's part of the roadmap post-release, then that could be a different story, but as of right now, no.
Okay.
It does not have the same depth of story, which is why it's way down here. If it had Hades' depths of story with co-op play, now we might be talking about a top 5 contender, but
Yeah.
so really
Still
fun
weird.
gameplay, but not the story.
Still weird to think of like, hey, this game's out of played. I really liked it. There could be more coming. It's still like, even to this day, even though it's been happening for a long time, feels off, you know?
Well, no, when it's well done, I don't mind it. Like Witcher 3 has some of the best expansions ever released. When it comes out half-baked, and then
Yes.
they're like, oh, we'll fix it later, that's what I like less.
Yeah. The difference in DLC add-ons versus, man, this sucked. All right, we fixed it down to 0 now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Number 9 is Ball X Pit. Remember how I talked about like a breakout style game before? This is essentially that, where you've got a guy who can throw balls of some kind, and there's a bunch of enemies streaming down at you, and you get power-ups that allow you to kill them. The difference here is the gameplay is better than in Peglin, in my opinion, because every single character you select has different abilities, so it's not like you just have like a paddle at the bottom of the screen, although one character does have that old-school feel to him. Every character does different stuff. Sometimes you lob the balls to the back wall, so they start behind the enemies and come down to you. Sometimes they go through enemies. Sometimes they splinter off into several balls. And it has an in-between run component that's not just like run-over-run upgrades, but like almost like building a farm that is also resource management. So the fact that it's got a lot more content in it, both in runs and outside of runs, is why I have this on my list and not Peglin.
Okay. What's the style? Is it like 2D? Is it 3D? What's the?
It's like looking top down, so
Okay.
2.5-ish D.
Is it first person?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
When you
it's-
first talked about it, I was like, could this be like a fun VR game? And it sounds like, not quite,
I
but
don't think so. No.
okay.
It almost feels like Bubble Bobble back in the day type of deal from what I see. So same type of thing.
Yeah, but like vertical.
Cool.
Yeah.
Number 8 is one I struggled with because this franchise is all over the place right now. I almost think the pendulum has swung too far against it, and now we are not giving it enough credit somehow. And number 8 is Pokemon Legends ZA.
Oh, yeah.
I actually have a little bit about this one.
Okay, go then.
Only watching my children play it. My children are obsessed with it.
Okay, that's a good sign.
They have been playing it. Both boys have been playing it like crazy. It looks interesting, set in the city, in the sense of where like you have these battle zones. It's like, hey, you're in this area where it's like, hey, this whole city is about Pokemon, and we're gonna have these rules like you can't fight except in this spot. So, and then the idea that you're starting from the bottom, climbing up, that's like right up your alley, it seems, Sean, where it's like, I'm climbing to the top. I'm in the Z level and I'm going to get to the top, basically. So I haven't seen a ton of it because they haven't gotten that far in it, but it is looking like it's just that build yourself up type of game.
Some people were like, this is the most fun I've had in 2025. The people that didn't like it were like, I can't believe they painted on the like window railings.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I feel like those critiques are not matching like what the people really like about it. I feel like maybe you're nitpicking a little bit. Based on what I have seen, I don't know if it's the game for me, but I think I can acknowledge we're finally getting a Pokemon that's really resonating with most people again, and that's pretty cool.
The biggest question is going to be if you try it, and I think you should at least give it a shot, especially if you can do it for cheap and not full price, is do you like the battle system changes? It's not traditional turn-based anymore. It's more based on cooldowns. There's different reasons to use different types of moves. A well-timed protect might be as important as anything else you could use offensively. There's a lot more fluidity to battle. I think there's a lot of payoff here if you're an X or Y fan. Several of those story elements are now paid off years later, whether it's returning characters or unresolved threads from the originals. So that's helpful. Now, X and Y were not the best.
It's kind of cool. Arceus was just like way a long time ago, so it's cool that there's actually a connection.
This actually then gives you that connection because it's bringing in familiar faces, Pokemon, stuff like that. The soundtrack is really good. So I'm torn about this because, again, there's still plenty of problems with the way Nintendo operates, the Pokemon Company operates, Game Freak operates, and yes, it's not pushing the envelope graphically, and yes, it's not going to be what some people want still, but I think it's become easy to hate on this in a post-PAL world, and I don't think this game deserves that same ire.
How did you like the combat system as somebody who really likes the turn-based classic Pokemon?
I would like this to be a separate branch of Pokemon going forward. I don't want this to be what the game is because it is different, but it's different in a good way. It'd be nice if we're going to keep having success with these, like Arceus, keep making these type of games, especially as like if you want to do this rather than doing X, Y, and Z. We were supposed to have Z right for Zygarde. We never got it. This is almost like replacing that. If that could be the trend going forward, like we get dueling releases of the main games and then a third game like this to explore the world further, I think we might really be onto something.
That's a cool idea, actually.
I agree fully because the few battles I did on this when I was playing it, I felt like the entire time I was just staring at the cooldown menu, and I hate that feeling. Like this is my strongest attack, so therefore I just have to sit there, wait for it, and survive. I just the strategy involved in turn-based and having the time to think about it, I think is just the greatest thing. So I'm with it.
Yeah, don't want it to change the core gameplay, but as an option, why not?
Yeah,
cool.
For sure.
Like Mystery Dungeon was its own set of games. Why not these? Number 7 is Trails in the Sky first chapter.
Oh, yeah. Heard great things.
Yes. The longest running complaint with these games, especially for people who've watched this channel for a while, because we have some pretty big Trails fans who followed us, is that it's tough to get into because the games are all over the place. For a long time, until recently, you couldn't even play all of them in the States. This solves multiple problems at once. It is the first game in the series, but the first game in the series was getting old. And instead, this has a lot of the quality of life upgrades and modern trappings you would expect. Much better looking graphics. It looks like a modern game. So finally, there's a definitive way to say, try this one, and if you like it, you're in. If you don't, it may not be for you. They're still very story-driven, very much about world building, almost to a fault sometimes, because there's so many characters that they put time into where you're like, I don't even remember who you are. Where did you come from? But this is finally a definitive way for Trails fans to agree, like, this is where you start. It's not, well, you can start with the Cold Steel games because those are newer, so they're going to grab you more, but you're going to miss out on a lot of story if you do that, or start in Crossbill, but you can't in America without localizing a Japanese patch. You start here. And second is coming out this year, as in 2026, so you can get into it pretty quickly. If you like that, go from there.
Well, I don't love these games, but I'm so impressed with the volume and quality triangle. Like how many of these they put out, and still they're good. And I'm like, why can't more companies do that? Like, it's just that they're just an amazing director over there, or like what's the deal? But they're consistently good at it.
There's something to the ability to build a world and then continuously produce content within that world that makes it worthwhile to revisit that world. Like, I feel like that's something that specifically anime does really, really well.
Yeah. And I feel like not feeling like we have to reinvent the wheel every game, because I think a lot of fans are like, I'd rather have whatever installment of my game series more frequently than like waiting for. It's great when you change a bunch of stuff and revitalize it and revolutionize it, but more like Majora's Mask, I think, is maybe the number one thing. Like we kept all the assets and we just did a new thing. But anyways, I'm just impressed with them.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say is, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I just say so often that's what I want in a sequel. Is like, give me more of the game that I loved. Give me a couple new things and let me just keep going in the game that I loved. I almost want DLC in my sequel.
And they love bringing back characters from past games as they go to other regions. They introduce a whole new set of characters, but then other ones get splashed back in. And the thing I think they've done best is they've implemented some action gameplay, but it's still a turn-based game. And it's really nice when you're running through, an area that there's no random encounters, but you see enemies about, and you're like, these enemies are kind of boring. Well, you can just beat them to death real quick. You don't have to go into a whole battle and set up turns and do it over and over again. Here, it's like, all right, these are run-of-the-mill enemies. We can wash them quickly. Bap, 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 done. Then when it matters, you do the actual turn-based gameplay that you come to expect and you want.
Yeah.
Those are the best.
Number 6 is going to be higher on a lot of people's lists than mine. It's Silksong. I just never really clicked with the original Hollow Knight. I know it's like Molly's favorite game. I know it's a lot of people's favorite game. I'm well aware of the hype and the delay that led to this outpouring of support for Silksong when it finally hit last year, because all the rumors kept being for like 6 years, like, oh, next month they're going to announce something more about it. Nothing. Finally comes out. I think it's a me problem, because it's a beautiful game. The soundtrack is phenomenal. The gameplay difficulty hits just right. I just have never fully embraced this series, and it was no different here than it was in the first game. This is a lot like the first game in a lot of ways, which is very good. I don't know what it is about it. I don't connect with it very well.
How much did you play this one?
I beat it.
Oh, okay. So, like, I have a bunch to say on it. I went back playing the first one after this one. I almost would say I didn't even like it. There's just what they achieved, I think, in the combat of this one and the way that Hornet moves. It's so fluid.
Yes.
I feel like so cool, even just like in basic traversal, the speed and the like minute little details, like when you jump on a ledge, if you hit it just right, you kind of vault over it. Really, really cool. I think there are some pacing issues. And I think some unintended frustrations. I think some of the difficulty is great, and that's when the game's at its best. I think some they're being assholes on purpose, and that can be frustrating.
Yes. I felt the same thing about Cuphead.
Right.
Another really well-regarded game, but there are times where I'm like, I just feel like this is hard for the sake of being hard.
And the developers were like, well, we felt like we had to because of the mobility and the speed of Hornet. And it's like, there are ways to cater to that crowd that really wants it to be tough while not making me want to smash a hole in my wall.
Yeah.
Isn't that what like difficulty settings are for? Post-game content is for? Like that's, I feel like you want it that way. I don't know.
Look, I get that you don't want to put this game on easy. The developers are like, there is a certain grind that we want you to experience to really get in there. But yeah, like if you want to make it harder, which there is a mode to make it harder, like that's all great. It just was dialed a little off for me in some parts. That's all.
Yeah.
So I can't fully love it, and it's frustrating. I haven't gone back to the first one. If I did now, I feel like I would feel the same, where it's like now the movement doesn't even feel as good.
No.
Because like Hades 2 to Hades 1 we talked about in our review, where it's like, is the gameplay in 2 better? Yes. But going back to 1 would be different, not worse in most aspects.
Agreed.
This would be worse in most aspects, I feel.
Yeah, I agree. But like gameplay, art design, some of the boss fights are just like exquisite. I think it's still top of Metroidvania, which is really sad in a year that Metroid Prime 4 came out. But yeah, it's not my top game either. I'm talking about on yours, Chris, because now I can skip.
We can go fast.
skip mine, yeah.
So that's my number 6. Top 5, there's a gap. These are all games that I really loved. 3 of these I think would be Game of the Year contenders for me personally, maybe 4. Not the 5th one, although I still, again, had a big gap here. Number 5 is Monster Train 2.
Ooh, I love it.
We had to kind of rely on this year because Slay the Spire 2 got delayed into 2026. Should be coming out in a couple months here, supposedly. We'll see if it makes it. But it's the same as the first game, but better. That's really all there is to it.
Actually, but like you liked but didn't love the first game, so I'm pleasantly surprised to see this made it so high on your list.
I think the tweaks that they made, while small overall, were good enough to really make me embrace this more than the first one. And the fact that you can then play all the original games like cast in this one, that to me was a big touch. That was what elevated this to just inside the top 10 to just inside the top 5.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was great. I don't have a lot. It was my honorable mention. I think it's just in a lot of ways. I don't know if you agree. It kind of feels like really, really expansive DLC to the first game because they don't like really change a whole lot, but it just feels really good. It's more of what you love. Dave, to go back to the point you made earlier, like I would love more sequels to just do this. Give me more of what I love, and that's great.
Because I'm not playing this for the story primarily. There is a story, and it's fine.
Yeah.
But it's all about the gameplay, and they've made it a little bit better. And then again, adding all the other classes in gives you so much flexibility and fun combinations that.
Yep.
Number 4 is Dispatch.
Oh, also my number 4.
Interesting.
Crazy.
And this is one Dave has experienced, so I almost want him to go first because we have so few opportunities for that.
I mean, God, there's so much to story-based games. You mentioned it with Trails in the Sky being a big deal, the story-based thing. This is story-based to the extreme, and then you make the idea of like, I'm basically watching an animated TV show, and I get to experience it along with it. And then on top of that, you get to play what I thought was a stunningly fun gameplay part where you have to I didn't expect it to be as fun as it was. And what made it as fun as it was you felt a sense of urgency. You felt like your choices mattered. And then the dialogue on top of that and everybody giving each other shit the entire time, feeling like these are a bunch of rejects that are coming together. And it goes from mean-hearted, like mean-spirited making fun of to positive ripping on people. It felt so natural and so real the entire time, all while being this ridiculous nature of superheroes, and there's just superheroes everywhere and there's supervillains everywhere, but these are good. It's great.
Dave, at one point, don't they just start chanting "Robert sucks"?
Yeah,
as like a positive chant. Yeah, it's great.
My only complaint, and maybe Chris has the same. Chris will have his as obviously. My only complaint is I didn't feel that the bad ending that I got was natural. I didn't. I don't know. I didn't feel great about that, but we can go on that more later. I want to hear what you guys have to say.
Chris, you should go.
Oh,
because it's your game.
I was the only person who put The Walking Dead in his list when we redid Best Games Ever a couple years ago. Not because you guys didn't enjoy it, you just didn't make room for it. There's a lot of games. It's fine. But I was surprised by that only because we've all enjoyed them. The Telltale formula got run into the ground. I don't think there's any denying that. Telltale itself faced a lot of issues that essentially sent it underground. So it's nice to see a spiritual successor to the best of those games come back here. But as Dave said, it also actually has some gameplay that's fun. It isn't just this choice of options. And yes, there are some little combat sections that involve quick time events, but there's not a ton of them. So instead, we have this other new side part that allows it to feel like a gameplay loop and not just the same experience throughout. And we're big on those. That's why Persona 5 is so high for us. Like, it is, okay, I have some story, I have a little bit of action, I have dispatching, I have some story. So like that part of it, that balance felt really good to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like any Telltale game, there's going to be some issues with branching paths. I think that's unavoidable in this type of game, no matter how good the writing is, and it's really, really good in this game.
Yep.
There's still going to be the illusion of choice that you can see through at times, And if you do ever want to replay these, I don't, then you can really see the cracks as you choose the other options.
Yes.
But the fact that the writing was so strong, it's surprising because it was essentially a somewhat critical role that pulled this out of the doldrums, because it was kind of floundering a bit, and now all of a sudden you've got a mix of some of those really well-known voice actors like Travis Willingham, Laura Bailey, along with some relative newcomers, and all those performances are delivered really well. It's to the point where like there's a couple of bad lines and they stand out a ton because everything else is so good.
And then just Aaron Paul, like who I think kills it. On top of all of that, so yeah, just great.
He absolutely kills it to the extent that I knew it was Aaron Paul, and then like, every once in a while I'm like, that doesn't sound like him. And then every once in a while he came out like it's his normal Jesse voice came out, but it was like, man, he's really good at this. It felt natural.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had a point. Darn it, I had a point and I lost it. So maybe
it'll come back to you. So I honestly, Dispatch, some of the most fun I've had this year. Like I really, really adored the game. I love the story and the writing, and like even I think from the opening scene, you can tell like it's gonna be special. And it was. And now I'm prepared to say it's the best Telltale game.
I think I would too.
And what I mean by that is it the best story? No, I think you saw it to give it to Walking Dead, but like. It's the only Telltale game I feel like I've actually played, and that's thanks to that resource management, dispatching loop. There's actually gameplay to it, and it weaves really well into the story. We talked about some of the performances. The illusion of choice doesn't bother me as much. I'm not playing the games so that I can play through them a bunch of times. I just want like a really good story that I feel like I am changing, and I got that. I got the best ending, Dave, so I don't really relate to you getting the worst ending. I honestly don't know how you did, but so I'm sure that's frustrating.
I actually thought I got a good ending, and then I read it, and I'm like, "This is the bad ending."
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
So like Dispatch had the best romance of the year. I think I had the funniest moment of the year for me with Fallen Base Karaoke. I just fucking love that shit.
And funny in
there's
general.
a funnier moment in that game.
I think the game is easily the funniest of the Telltale games.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. The coolest moment I felt like, because I did the ending where like I like gave them both, and I was like, look, I don't know which one is which. How are you gonna know? Good luck. I just thought that was so cool. And it just kind of revived my interest in these types of games. So everyone that's played it that I know, Maisie, Dave, Chris, has really, really liked it. And I would say like this is like the hidden gem of the year, except like I know it went really, really, really viral and it deserved it. But it like just kind of came out of nowhere for me and just blew me away.
We need this type of game in the industry.
Yes.
We lost it, and there was a hole in the games that were out there because of it, because we don't need any more battle royales. We don't need any more like massively online games. We need a variety of types of games. We don't need more roguelikes. We have tons of them, as much as I like them.
Yeah.
We need more games like this, and this game's success should hopefully pave the way for a return going forward.
Yep.
Well, and you went through that whole thing without talking about what I think is the funniest character, which is Chase. Like his opening, basically when you meet Chase at the very beginning, and he basically talks about how he'd kill your own father again just to use his powers again. I thought was like the most natural guy talk, if you want to use that I've ever heard. I thought it was absolutely hilarious.
Well, it's Jeffrey Wright, so like of course, like a fucking Oscar-nominated actor just is like, oh, I'll be a side character for this video game of yours. You're like, amazing.
And the best part of it, I think, is he spoke so fast, which was a testament to what his superpower was that he couldn't use anymore. I thought that was poetic in that own sense.
Yeah,
so
good synergy there. Yep.
As Sean said, like great romance. So you could be a blonde blazer person, you could be an Invisigal person, and both sides were like, well, I think my side's better, but I like your side too. It wasn't like divisive. There was a streamer I saw that described this as basically being Twilight for guys. And I did have to stop and think about that one a little bit. That caused me a little bit of damage because I'm like, there is something to that. It's better writing than Twilight, but just the premise, the triangle, like there are a lot of similarities there. And I was like, that makes me a little uncomfortable. It's still one of the games I really, really liked this year.
Yeah.
You could be a no one or you could be a Mandy, which I was Mandy over Blonde Blazer for sure.
Yeah, you could be a no one. You could be a both. There is a way to actually technically have both.
Apparently, 5% of people did not romance anyone, and Maisie was one of those people because she's a freak. And she was like, well, one of them's my supervisor and I supervise another one. And you can't do that in the workplace.
Well, this is HR violation in the video game, so there is some merit to that.
Yeah.
There are also a couple other side characters that people really like that they wish were romanceable, which is just a testament to how well written everybody is.
Well,
Yep.
I mean, there's a whole subset of the internet that really wants Malevola to be romanceable because
Yeah, you can count me in there.
I'm with you, but maybe not
I don't-
romance. Maybe
I don't want her myself, but I would think it'd be cool if she were an option because I can see what people like.
Yeah.
We'll fly through the next two. Number 3 is a game neither of you have played, and maybe Sean's heard of because he's tapped into the industry. Number 3 is Absalom.
I've heard of that. Yep. Taylor's playing it.
Here's the thing, and I thought this was going to be good going in. It's been on my wish list for a couple of years now as it's been going through development. Beautiful art style, really fun combat, but the crux of this is simple. Beat 'em ups, forced replay without really any payoff. It's if you play Final Fight, Streets of Rage, you go through a run, takes about an hour, and that's it. You could play different characters, but there's no incentive to play it again. It's the same thing over and over again. Well, what better way to fix the formula of that forgotten genre than by making it a roguelite? Because now you have incentive to do things over and over again. You have branching paths to experience different levels. You have different power-ups. You get more combat abilities. You get stronger. Is the perfect way to revitalize a stale formula. And you guys know I like beat-em-ups in the first place. This was a no-brainer. This could have been my favorite game of the year in some years, not this year. But there were too many strong candidates here. But I think even people who are not fans of that genre in particular still need to check this out. Fighting game fans have a lot to like here. It's got some of those elements of juggling, combos, but it's also, you want a button mash, it's still pretty beginner friendly. So there's a lot to like here.
It's like 2 of your favorite genres in one.
Kind of, yeah.
That's great.
And again, some years that would have been higher. It can't this year because number 2 is Hades 2, which we did a full review on, so I don't need to talk about it much here. Go check out that episode. It was a couple months ago, right before we went on the break to do all the December episodes. I don't have much to say about it here. I haven't changed my perspective on it because I'd already experienced the new ending. I was really kind of hoping it would be Game of the Year, and I do have issues with number 1. However, I just think when I'm on my deathbed, there's a chance I'll be thinking about number 1, and I don't know if I'll think about Hades 2 for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm looking forward to play it when I have time. I haven't yet, but I
Yeah,
want
because you
to.
played the first one, you should get to this one as well. You'll like it.
it just takes one and just goes like bigger. That's just more, right? More boons, more paths, more to unlock, more weapons, more ways to play. So it like just bigger in every way. Not bigger and better, but just like more. And again, like what more could you ask for from a sequel?
Is it as much of a jump from like Portal 1 to Portal 2? Because that was a massive jump, obviously, but I don't think it's as big of a bigger in that sense.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
It jumps in the margins. There are some areas that have substantial changes, and I would say are almost significantly better than the first one, but it still feels like Hades at the end of the day. It doesn't feel like something
Absolutely.
drastically new.
Yep.
Number 1 is Clair Obscure Expedition 33.
I mean,
It'll be number 1 for Sean as well.
It will.
It'll be number 1 for almost everybody. It's basically swept the Game Awards with one exception. At this point, if you have not heard of this game, I don't know what the fuck rock you've been under. This is among the most heart-wrenching video games I've ever played, which is why it has to be my number 1, because there are just moments in this that will stick with me in a way Hades 2 didn't.
Yeah.
As much as I loved Hades 2, there are just moments of this that I think are phenomenal. I'm going to address a couple things up front that I think prevent me from putting this like all-time top 10 for myself. Number 1, I don't know how this game shipped with the platforming it has. It fucking sucks. I don't know why it's in the game. It's fucking awful. I am baffled how that got greenlit, because every time I was forced to do it, I'm like, what are we doing? This feels like a fucking PS2 game. What are we doing? If there's ever a time, like the whole controversy around, is this an indie game, was not all that important in the grand scheme of things. Given the budget it had, you could certainly make a case against. Given the small size of the staff, you could make a case for. This is the one area where I was like, this is a fucking indie game. This feels like shovelware equivalent here.
Yeah, well,
the amount of times I rolled off of a like a ledge, like I just want to land. Nope, fuck you. All right. Great.
well, and it rears its head on the gestural like challenges.
Beach.
There's a couple of those mini games that are the volleyball one. They're just like horrific and like not fun. You do it because you want the costume or whatever it is, but you're suffering the whole time.
Yeah. And this is a me problem again. So I will recognize this game is phenomenal. So I'm only nitpicking here just because we can speak about the good stuff forever. But I don't really enjoy Picto management that much.
Yeah, I get that.
There's a level of difficulty in this game where you have two paths, essentially. One is parry everything successfully or die. One of them is manage all your Pictos to the point where you can win a fight that way. On the hardest stuff. In most fights, you don't really have to worry about it. You can kind of just equip a bunch of stuff and it's going to work out overall. Just, random encounters, stuff like that. Just battles along the way. But to me, I spent a little more time in the menus than I would like to be in a game like this. For some people, it was probably really, really great for them. It was not for me.
I did love it. I can see your flaws with it, though.
So that's, the two nits I would pick with what is my number one. So I'm not trying, the soundtrack is really, really good. I would say it has almost become slightly overrated, but that's me being a gatekeeper of all of video game music in history. There are still some really, really standout tracks, some phenomenal performances. It was really cool to see one of them performed live. I saw some quibbling about art direction for this game, and while it isn't necessarily the best looking game just as far as graphical fidelity, the number of jaw-dropping set pieces you walk into, I think, qualifies it for that designation.
Absolutely.
So, I will stop nitpicking because, again, there's a ton of stuff I like about this. I want you guys to talk about it, but that's why it's Hades 2 is a 9.5. This is like a 9.7. I can't give it a full 10 because there's a couple big issues I have with it. It's a phenomenal game.
Well, even art direction, that goes to something like you look across the sea and you see this woman and what's her name? Sophia, I think, in the beginning is she just looks so sad. And she does look really sad, but yet she's the villain that's destroying generation by generation, at least as far as they know. And that's the stuff you can elicit when you have really, really good art direction. So yeah, I didn't really understand the people who had beef with that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to look back through the text I sent with Maisie and Sean about the wonder. I was talking to Sean about this yesterday, about the wonder I felt going through the art. One of the first levels is called Flying Waters, and you're basically running through what feels like you're under the sea. And I did take moments, which I don't do frequently in games, to just look around and be like, yeah, geez, man, what are you what is going on here? This game also, can get so attached to these characters in the first 20 minutes and you're basically crying after the first 20 minutes. And then the end of the prologue, you're like, okay, I'm in tears. Great.
Very few games can do that. And that's the strength of the writing.
Probably the best prologue I've ever played.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
If you want to be hooked on the game, you need to invest about 2 hours.
Yep.
If that.
Yeah, probably an hour and a half.
I'll give it the demerit. I'll give it, which is why I think it falls short of PS5 Royal, which is a funny thing to say because I think it's one of the greatest games ever made.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think some of the side characters don't quite get. When I look at P5 Royal, everybody, including the villains, are getting a ton of development. They're really fleshing them out. You don't quite get that. You get ton of Mael, Verso, Gustav, but Lune, Ciel, Minoko, they're around. They get some. They're not ignored, but it's not that same depth where you really, really, really feel connected with them.
And I think I was the most surprised with that with Lune.
Right. Yeah.
Who seems like she's going to be really prominently positioned, and she's just kind of there the whole time. Like you said, she gets some.
You get a little side quest with her at the end,
yeah,
which you don't even get with Ciel, by the way. And that's it.
It does fit with Lune thematically because her whole life has been one note, so her character is kind of one note, which you can argue as far as the quality of that, but it did fit thematically,
Right, but yeah, would I wanted that or a little bit extra to where she really feels fully fleshed out? I
it's not really her story, but I just felt especially as early as she was introduced, I was like, huh, that was kind of just it the whole time.
The only other thing I'll say, Chris, you kind of brought it up with feeling in some ways that indie sort of influence. Some of the areas, Dave, we had one last night. They're kind of surface deep. Dave found a new area. He's like, oh, what's this going to be? He walks in. It's essentially a room. He grabs a Picto and leaves. It's a beautiful looking room, but you thought there was going to be an area. There's not even enemies. It's literally a set. And then you walk in and you walk out. So there's some scale issues that you think there's going to be more to it than there is. That's all I have. Go ahead.
Real quick, just I don't. I have a hard part with nitpick. I feel like I have to have the nitpick a little bit. The end game content is fun. It did get a little repetitive, especially when you can get overpowered and just start blowing people away. And then the hard bosses are just hard to be hard, and I wish there was a little bit more that I could experience without having to just be like, okay, well now I have to like we spent almost 2 hours last night trying to beat one of the final end game bosses, and I'm like, cool. I can't do it, and it just kind of sucks in that sense.
But I will disagree with you there because I liked that.
This is
now,
all personalities, though.
if Simon was the final actual boss of the game, then maybe I have some beef.
Yeah.
He's completely optional.
Yes.
And like, if for the people who, one of the complaints, Dave, the game is way too easy. That I
know, and I hear that too.
So I'm glad those people have a Simon to really, and I'm sure those people who are saying it's too easy, they're not trying to do the one-shot method. They're trying to go about it like, I'm gonna parry this guy. So I'm glad it's there. I don't have the same beef there.
No, it's a little bit.
It's reminiscent of Sephiroth and Kingdom Hearts 1 to me, in the sense that like it's meant to be something that you're leveled significantly past the final boss for.
Yep.
And you can technically do it earlier if you have the perfect Picto setup or you parry 6,000 times. But in general, it's meant to be a ramp up, and as optional content, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
And,
It's a masterpiece to me. I just think
it's phenomenal.
It's easily I kept telling like Mikhail this. It's the best Final Fantasy since 12 certainly, which I love a lot. So that's very high praise. Maybe even 9. Like it's one of the maybe even 6. Like I really love this game, and it gives those Final Fantasy vibes. Yeah, if I had to go put it against all the games from the last 10 or 15 years, it's certainly top 10, if not even top 5. Music's exquisite. I love it. I get the chills. I tear up when I hear certain songs. That story is really deep and engrossing. But it has like that Final Fantasy sort of twist to it. That back when Final Fantasy games were good, all of them sort of had that little twist that sort of put the story on its head in a really good way.
They did a really good job of finding the balance in the turn-based, because people get bored with turn-based apparently, but then they threw in this element of parrying and dodging. It's like, great, now I can have both. And
then you have some people like, oh, it's not actually true turn-based. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
It's very much turn-based. The only thing I would quibble with is I think it's too overtuned. I like when timing elements are helpful in a battle, but not required in some cases. Like I want it to cut off some damage, but not do this or die. But that's a me thing. I know not everybody agrees with me on that, and that's okay.
I'm with you.
Can
I say one last positive thing before? I don't know if you're moving on to your list, Sean, or if you.
Oh, I still have more positives. Hurry up! I only have like
I thought
10
you were moving on
minutes
to your
now.
list. My bad.
Yeah.
Go.
No. Say your good thing, and then I have more to say too.
No, you mentioned the music being exquisite. The deeper you dive in the music, the more exquisite it gets in some ways, because when you actually translate the lyrics, like to Un Via Tamer or whatever it's called, you translate the lyrics and like, oh God, this is very pertinent to this story that's going on, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I love the gameplay. I think all the people, to be blunt, that don't like it, I think they're either dumb or children or both. You're stupid children. I think like ADD if you don't like this gameplay. I think it's turn-based at its finest. I love that, and I even love that each character kind of has like a different build that you go with, almost like Slay the Spire-esque. There's different ways to like kind of optimize your builds, but there's a lot of freedom because of the Pictos and everything in there. There's a lot of flexibility. Like as we were exploring, Dave, you can completely break the game at the end, but like you feel like you've earned it. And I would say most JRPGs that I've ever really loved, there is a way to do that. You really engage with the system. You find a way to break it. You're empowered to do that. Persona 5, you break the whole thing and it's fine. And they still have a good time. So yeah, I've enjoyed this just so much. And it was a cool feeling. Like Chris and I, we had this on our radar pretty early on as something that we thought sounded cool. And then to have it come out and be this absolute masterpiece that sweeps all the game awards. I feel like that's pretty neat.
Because just the concept seemed neat. You know, just the idea of, well, everybody at a certain age dies, and everybody who's about to hit that age goes out and tries to stop it. There's a lot more depth to it than that, but just as a hook, you're like, okay, I'm in, and then you find out there's a lot more going on.
Well, I just keep going back to like everything, movies, TV, video games. If you start with a good script, good things are going to happen. So yeah.
All right.
That feels like the greatest thing that happened in this year, where basically it's like, hey, we have things that could have been movies or TV shows, and we turn them into games like Dispatch and Clair Obscur. It's like we have these phenomenal stories.
Yeah.
Let's just make it into a game.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the vehicle is. TV, games, movies. If it's a good story, it travels.
Yep.
All right, Sean.
Yeah, Bonanza, honorable mention, which is sad because it's Nintendo's best hope for Game of the Year entry.
Not a great year for Nintendo.
Yeah, couldn't crack the top 10. Yeah, for a few hours, it's some of the most fun I had, actually. But the campaign's really long, and there's not like a lot of variety. So it's and huge issue. You have no incentive for finding the bananas, really, except to level up. And the skill trees are not very fun or interesting. So by the end, I was just blitzing through the game. A really, really bad gameplay decision that I thought hampered the entire thing. Only in the post game, Dave, does it have that like Odyssey approach where now you're finding bananas to like unlock certain like actual gameplay. Too late.
Which is
I'm
what's
done.
fun.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Yep.
So really, actually, kind of disappointed with that one. Number 10 is Chronos. Dave, you will not have heard of this. Chris, I think probably will have at least heard of it.
Heard of, yeah.
You got some old school horror. It was kind of sold as like the new Dead Space, and it's not. Story, gameplay, even like the scares are not to the same level as Dead Space. But there's some really cool ideas. It really puts the survival in survival horror. It is tough as fucking nails at times. But I like that because it forces me to engage with those mechanics, and the upgrade system is really, really thoughtful and well done. So, really awesome. It's a horror game, Dave. You won't like it. Night Rain. Oh, Dave, another one you will hate. Dave, how's this for a premise? 3-player co-op Elden Ring.
Actually, I would prefer that more to single player. Because co-op at least then. Well, okay, take that back. It could be good, or it could be annoying as hell because if one of you fucks up, you're all dead. And that's probably what it is.
You would feel the latter. I'm glad you got there because when you die, and then every time you die, it is subsequently harder to revive you.
Why? Why?
Yeah, Dave. You took my next point because I struggle so much with ranking this game because it is such a flawed game. And every time we do a run, I say, why? Why are you doing this? Why are you offering, Chris, in Hades, you only get upgrades for the things that like you have. It makes a lot of sense. It's very thoughtful. When I'm getting upgrades in Night Rain up a magic tree when I'm fucking melee and I've been melee the entire time. So it's just like, oh, cool. I might as well not even take this reward. It's so frustrating. And it's like, oh, that's From Software doing their thing. I'm like, bitch, that's not an excuse. Like, fuck them.
Yeah.
I hate that company.
It's another example of difficulty for the sake of difficulty.
Yeah, exactly.
Why do you like to bang your head into a wall? I've never been able to
But when it clicks, it really, really fucking clicks.
It is still co-op Elden Ring to a certain extent, so like there's a formula there.
Yeah. There's a surprising amount of content. It's a roguelite, so you always have the RNG factor that when it's in your favor, it feels really, really good. And there is no high like when Maisie, Kevin, and I have like vanquished the boss that's been kicking our head in. And like we always do it to where like we are really close and we keep dying. And then the one that we get it, he could have had like twice as much health and we would have been fine. It's just like always how it works out. But there's a sense of satisfaction there that is just really rewarding. That's why it is my number 9. And that would not be on Dave's list. This one can be kind of quick. Silent Hill F. So Dave, Konami's really dumb. They released some of the best games ever. And then they were like, you know what? We're done with games. We're just done. And then recently they're like, oh, you know what? Maybe we can revisit some of the games. And they're all fucking bangers and they're selling millions of copies. So I don't know what to say about that, but this one is so much better than most of the Silent Hills I've ever played. It's a really interesting story, very open to interpretation, but like in a compelling way, not an annoying way. Melee-based gameplay is really fun, which is surprising for Silent Hill. And it's just that Silent Hill lineage of like, there's going to be a handful of like really terrible, awful jump scares that really get you. But then it's like hours of just like this anxious dread that you feel, and it like affects your sleep and it just fucks you up. And I love that.
I thought this might be a couple spots higher, but there's also a lot to go from.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so that was good. Death Stranding 2. So much better than the first one. Yeah, better story, better mechanics, better writing. There's more to do. There's more stealth gameplay, kind of like that Metal Gear Solid line that it kind of comes from. It felt like the first one's a tech demo for what this one was able to achieve, so that's really cool. It's still just a walking simulator, like when you really boil it down, / driving. So I can't go too high, but I actually really enjoyed this game, and I can't say that about the first one at all.
You'll notice I didn't mention it. If there was ever going to be an arc where I took a Dave-esque approach to something, and I'm like, I don't want to play that on principle, this is probably the one.
And I don't even blame you.
I know. I don't. I'm not even gonna be like, that sucks. It probably doesn't. People regard it pretty well. It's just not. I don't care for Kojima's latest 10 years or so, and it's just not for me.
Yep. Kingdom Come 2. Chris, you mentioned this. All the fanboys crying they didn't win Game of the Year. It didn't deserve it. But it can be very immersive. It can be very smart. And I think I've talked about the mission with both of you where you're imprisoned, you're stripped down of all your equipment, and you have to use your smarts and kind of skills you developed to find a way to exonerate your friend before the bell tolls a certain amount of time, basically a day. And if you don't, he gets hung. And it's the best mission I played all year in any game. So good. If the whole game was like that, maybe it'd be a different story. But the story overstays its welcome by a ton. You get over that difficulty curve where you're not forced to engage with the mechanics anymore. And then it really just becomes a slog. And you're just like, okay, when is this going to end? The story takes a dive. The mechanics takes a dive. So if it's a 20-hour game, we're talking maybe Game of the Year. When it's hour 50, 60, 70, you're just please, can we be done with this?
Mm-hmm.
Please. Wu Chang, Dave. So now it's at my top 5, but actually we've touched on a lot of these already. So, and again, like Chris, my top 5 is on a different level than the rest. Wu Chang. It's probably Wu Chang, but I like saying Wu Chang. I also like saying Goon Chang, Dave, because the main character is a really, really sexy lady. But it's just kind of window dressing because it's actually really, really deep and compelling game. It harkens back to old Dark Souls level building where it's just these levels that are really intricately designed and connect in these surprising ways. And that makes it really fun. So it's this old school method that has made a comeback. And where you're just desperate to find the next bonfire. And when you get it, you're like, oh my God, and it feels so good. There's a skill tree, really, really robust that Dark Souls doesn't do. So I think in that way, that's the way that the game sort of elevates everything. But yeah, that's what really sets it apart. The skill tree and the excellent combat. Dave, this is the game where every boss you have to learn the boss, which I like. I want to feel like I want to record the fight after I beat it. And if I can do that, I'm that's a good game. And if I don't care to record it, then I don't think it's a good game.
There's something to that. I understand the appeal to that, but also it's when you have to learn it and you can't just use the the game elements to intrinsically beat something, it almost feels, I don't know, it feels again, banging your head against a wall.
I'm sure there are players good enough who can do that. I could not. And especially because a lot of the bosses, there's that skill tree, very robust. And it's designed you'll have a boss that fights very, very different than the previous boss. So they want it's free to respec, and they want you to do that. They want you to go back and say well, you did super aggro axe. Well, this enemy, you're going to have to go into the magic tree because axe will just kill you. And I thought that was really, really fun. I'm pretty certain would hate it, but I really liked it.
It doesn't surprise me that I would hate it.
This felt like this year's version of Stellar Blade, just in the sense that half the conversation was about how hot the main character was. And there was actually a good game under the surface, but that wasn't part of the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Dispatch, we talked about. It was great. Silk Song, we talked about. It was great. That's my number 3 now. Any of these number 3 could have been Game of the Year in any other year. Hades 2 was my number 2, also like Chris. And then, Claire Obscure, number 1, by a pretty big margin.
I love the fact that I think we talked about Sean on this show, probably in June, I think, said, Dave, play this game. I'm pretty sure in June or so around that time, you're you need to play this. And I'm like, Claire Obscure, what is Expedition? 33? That's all I knew. What is this? And the more time passed, the more it's just everybody knew this game because is that good.
I think for Chris and I, it was one of the easiest recommendations we've ever
Yes.
had for you because it's
100%.
a really great game, very story-based and turn-based mechanics. So it's like,
Yeah. Yep.
it checks all your
It's-
boxes.
Yeah, exactly. And
That's essentially it.
I feel like we almost need an entire review of Clair Obscur itself.
We
Like,
should, because I would love to
I'm-
get into like the ending conversation.
Yes, I would
li-
love to just argue with Sean, basically.
And talk about the midway twist too.
Yep.
Yeah,
Dive a little
exactly.
deeper into like some of the mechanics. Like, yeah, I mean, I didn't know you beat it, Chris. So I would have said we should have done a review earlier. Then again, we've been very booked on
I was gonna
episodes.
say that's the
but
problem. We've had 2 straight months of booked episodes, and we have a couple more coming up
Yeah.
that I think we should get to sooner than later. I mean, we don't have to do the Suns next week, but there's a lot to go over there.
I feel like we should do the Suns, and then sometime after that, we can do Clair Obscur. We can give Cody the week off again.
Yeah, we'll see if he has a week where he's going to miss coming up, and we can just schedule it for that.
Yeah.
Because I also have a thing I think I'm going to try for the last episode, a new trivia type. Not even the one I tried to pitch to you guys, something else.
Oh, okay. Because I was brainstorming with Maisie on like, what am I an expert in that wouldn't be so easy for them, but also way too hard for them?
I really like the concept of it. We're basically doing a chase style thing where there's like one expert and 3 people challenging them for the viewers. The problem I also have is like, how do I write enough questions if I find a specialty that
Right.
So I don't know if that idea is going to make it or not. We'll keep working on it because I think there's something there. But this new one I think is going to be an easy fit and it's much easier for me to put together.
I also think Maisie would love to join Clair Obscur review.
I bet.
So that can be something we try for
well,
at some
Cody
point.
won't be here, so.
Yeah.
All right, that's essentially it. Cody's actually walking in the door right now, so the dogs are going to bark and there's going to be stuff happening. But that's the end of the episode. Next week is a Suns cast, but please tune in. We're not going to be talking about X's and O's so much as about the unexpected
Jimmys and
success
Joes.
of a team, things relative to expectations, and my win total almost having been reached at the halfway point of the season. So
Very happy about that.
next week, you'll see a resurgent, happier Suns cast, but also it's kind of talking about like how does basketball even work? How have we gotten to this point? What's going on? Even some players that we had before with different coaches look vastly different than before. It's like,
Yep.
how does a team even manage to get to where we are right now? And how are we having so much success? We'll tackle that next week. That'll be live as usual, 8 p.m., 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you then. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week.